No, you don't need. Made a big. Wow. Yeah, we already talked about this.
About what?
That church meeting in a couple weeks.
Oh. That's not what I have to worry about. That's you guys. Okay, great.
You could come if you want.
You're running the show back.
Yeah, we're good. I'm sure I'll be out of town. There's a church meeting. I'm usually out of town.
Either that or dad's gone. What do we get?
You guys don't have the kind spouses I have. Nope, she can't have a call. She doesn't know her like.
Yeah.
She lets you do it. Brian doesn't want me, which I appreciate. You just tell them, nope.
Well, Eric's not here to tell us that we legally can't, so let's just do it.
I was holding here today. Is I can't wait.
Scott, how you doing?
Yeah, I thought you were gonna be out of town this week. No, yeah, I don't know why. I thought something you said last week. Maybe it's next week.
2 weeks ago, I was at.
Oh, maybe it was.
Yeah, it's where I'd be somewhere. See what I mean?
Well, you're here now. You can stay.
Yeah.
Go see that part of it.
I drove through. The ice. Yeah. The Air Force. It's one of the routes.
Right across from the ball. Our actually student job side. Maybe. Transportation. Training.
You'll know eventually.
Hopefully in 1 minute. Yay.
All right, we'd like to welcome everyone and call to order the study meeting for the West Valley City Council. It is July 2nd, 2024. We're beginning our meeting at 4:30 p.m. in the multipurpose room of West Valley City Hall. All members of the council are present. Councilman Norfelt, Councilman Hune, Councilman Fitzsimmons, Councilman Whetstone, Councilman Harmon, Councilman Christensen, myself, and we're joined at the dais with our Assistant City Manager, Mr. Flores, and Ms. Kamick is joining us online, our city recorder. We have our minutes of June 25th, 2024. Turn those to the council for discussion or a motion.
Approval of those minutes.
Thank you. We have a motion and approval. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And those stand approved. We have our agenda for this evening, our regular meeting. Are there any changes?
Yes, just one point of clarification on the equipment purchase for my hometown. We had put on there that no budget opening was needed. However, we do need a budget opening just to transfer the funds.
Okay,
So just wanted to clarify that for the regular meeting.
so part of it was being donated,
Yes.
60,000
Yeah, so just a
donation and then
portion
the
of
balance.
Yep.
Okay,
So any questions?
okay. Did anybody else have any other questions on the agenda? Okay. We'll move on to our consent agenda schedule for July 9th. So we have 5 items on the agenda. 2 are storm drain easements related to the Iowa Way project. 1 is a reappointment of Brian Blank as the chair of the Clean and Beautiful Committee. And 2 are reappointments to the Business Licensing Hearing Board. Did anybody have any questions on any of those appointments or easements? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to our communication items and we'll turn the time over to Mr. Johnson. Give us an update on our puzzle.
Sam Johnson, Communications Director. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I get to talk about puzzles today. There are two things I'm not great at, building floats and doing puzzles, and I'm in charge of both this summer. So it's been a good learning curve. Every time my wife wants to start a puzzle, I wholeheartedly agree, and then I end up doing about 5 pieces out of the 1,500 puzzles. So she doesn't appreciate that too much, but I'm excited about this one. I'm committing to all of you that I will actually put this puzzle together when I buy one. So today I wanted to go over a couple of things about the status of where we are. Eric Dowdle, who is doing our puzzle, they do something in addition to what we've done. So just as a reminder for all of us, we have purchased 6,000 puzzles that we will be selling to the public late this summer, that we'll start selling. And I can talk a little bit about the plans on how we're going to distribute these and how we're going to let the residents know. In addition to this, he has approached us, and there is another feature that they put out there, and it's a puzzle wall. And I don't know if any of you have seen the South Jordan one. They went extreme. This is in front of their city hall right there on, is that Redwood or State Street in South Jordan? On Redwood. This is what they built. So South Jordan built that entire thing around the puzzle piece right there, around the puzzle poster, canvas, all of that. We can, as a city, buy that wall, the actual wall, not the surrounding piece, for $20,000. In addition to that, we would need to find a place to put it, and we'd need to find something to hold it. So we're probably looking anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000, $20,000 to build something around it. That's something that could go on the wall at the fitness center. It could be here at City Hall. It could be inside, outside. It would just need to be protected by the elements, obviously, if it's outside. South Jordan did this. They're the only ones that have gone to kind of gone this direction. There have been other cities that have purchased the wall, but they put it in one of their facilities and behind plexiglass, attached to walls in their facilities, that kind of idea. So I guess the question for all of you is, if this is something that you would like to have the city purchase a wall, and then what kind of costs that we think would go attached to this. And then we could come back if that's something that you want us to pursue. I thought it was worthwhile bringing it to you if this was something that you enjoy. As part of the puzzle pieces that we're getting, the 6,000 puzzles that we're getting, they're also giving us the size is a 32 by 40. So a fairly large framed artwork piece of the puzzle. They're giving us 5 of those. So it's a fairly large piece that we could put here at City Hall, in any of our city facilities that you all would think would be good to show it off. So that is included in what we've already purchased. This wall is completely separate. So I don't know if you have any questions about this in particular, the wall, if that's something that you want me to pursue further, or if you think for now, so we could hold off. It wouldn't be part of the unveiling of the puzzles, but we could do this in a year from now. The price would probably go up, but we could do this later if that's something that you wanted to pursue. If the wall is really not an option, like I said, most of the cities, well, not most, but a lot of the cities have not done the wall purchase, but there have been a couple that have. Are there any questions on that or any thoughts?
Any thoughts on that one? For me personally, knowing we're getting the 5 32 by 40s, that's fine.
And they're good looking pieces. They're legitimate that we could put here in City Hall, in the Senior Rec Home Fitness Center, wherever you all would like it, we would be able to do that. Okay. So I did talk to Mr. Dowdle as well, and he sent a couple of little snippets of our puzzle that I thought that we could show you today. I was hoping that he'd send the whole puzzle, But for now, he's like, I'm just going to give you the highlights. He is going to send kind of a final version to make sure there's no real errors in it. But if we could start showing you some of those. That's to represent the high schools. There may be more representation elsewhere than that, but that's one of the snippets. We have the cultural center there. We have the police building with lots of pretty balloons. We have the Olmeca Head and the Chinese Gate. We got the water tower and first.
Utah first.
First. I do know it. Thank you for the reminder. And then we have the Veterans Memorial, and you will see a baseball. There is not baseball being played at the Utah Veterans Memorial. The one thing he does with all of his puzzles, he wants to be very clear. Geographically, it is not accurate. So you'll see places that are a little out of sorts throughout the puzzle that don't make sense where they are. But in the big visual scheme and his vision, it does make sense. So those are the little highlights that he gave. I do like it. I think it is going to be very colorful and very fun with little things that you can look to see, little tidbits, little things that you can unearth as you kind of study it more. But he always does such a good job with all of his puzzles that I'm very excited for how it's progressing. And I appreciate all of you of council that all of your input that I hope we were able to incorporate all of it in the puzzles.
So you said more for August. I think we missed our mark by not having it ready for West Fest.
So
West Fest is where people come back.
We had a real talk about that, and I appreciate that feedback. I talked to him this would have been back in April and May. And he said that they have never had success selling anywhere near as many puzzles in any summer event than they do in fall and late summer and fall, because he said people don't buy puzzles in summers. He goes, I've never had any city have success doing it that way. If they sell later in the summer and fall and early winter, he says that's when we get the purchases, because people are looking for the downtime with their families in their houses.
But when did South Jordan had theirs in May?
They had theirs earlier, before summer. And he said that is an option. He said when you hit anytime after May, he says it is a real struggle.
When do we think we'll have them ready for sale?
The plan is, and we're still working with him, we would like to have this potentially released, and that's the second step in all of this is at the final party of National Night Out, the final celebration at Fairborn Station. Or is it at Fairborn? At the end of
The Cultural
August.
Center?
I'm not sure if it's the Cultural Center or Fairborn.
Was that? Okay.
And I've been talking to Craig Thomas and that group about that, and that's where we're hoping to get it for that.
Got to make sure Craig puts on a good program so that he'll attract a lot of people.
Yeah. Yep. And they also do, Dowdle's group also, they work with the media and they work with their different groups to get more people out to those events. The plan is, and we'll have all the plan for you if you're interested in seeing it as we get closer to that date, is that these puzzles will be sold at city facilities and even potentially at different events that we have moving forward. We want to make it as readily available for people without as much effort as possible for residents to be able to purchase these puzzles and get it out there.
Does that include an online purchase order?
The online, so over the past year, I've talked to all the cities. The online is possible. It's often messy because they end up having to charge quite a bit to ship the puzzles and the time. I think if this is an option that council is interested in, we'd be willing to take something like that on too. Cause like I said, we want to make sure it's available. It bumps up the price. I think most of the cities are selling it online for I think shipping is like $10 to $15 is what they were telling me that they were shipping it for. But if someone lives out of state, they don't have really any other option to get it too. And as a reminder, this is only going to be sold by West Valley City for the first year. After it comes out, so fall of next year is when Dowdle would sell it on his own websites and potentially other avenues that they do.
And how much is the puzzle? How much do you sell it for?
The puzzles are $25. And that's the 6,000 puzzles to recoup the cost that the city put into it. The actual puzzles, I believe, are $12.50 to produce
Oh,
is what their charge is. That's a suggested price. He says most of the cities sell it at 25, but some will knock it down to 20 for a Black Friday sell or whatever they do to adjust that. And then when we, and as a reminder, after we sell the 6,000, we can purchase another 1,000 and keep selling them as a city and keep doing that. So even though Dowdle will sell it on his site, that does not stop us from selling it for years to come if we choose to do so.
okay. Any questions or discussion?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you,
thanks.
Mayor.
All right, from our last meeting, the updates were the Mountain View corridor noise and traffic stats. We received an email with that information. Was there anybody that had any other questions that you would like staff to come up and answer? Or any further discussion you want to have on those? Okay, and then the limo parking and street racing. Email there was pretty detailed as well. Well, is there a question?
My wife just texted me saying we budgeted $200 for the Dowdle puzzles.
Oh, good. You're gonna get one or two then.
8.
You're gonna say street racing.
No.
No, since they took away your
We don't
track,
race on streets.
Yeah. you know, they took away your track.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the way to Idaho Falls now.
All right, and then the speed study criteria. Anybody have any enlightenment on that one?
I'd like to see how we can allow speed humps in more often.
Okay.
So I think I said that before. So
It could be a lower threshold. Different scoring. Whichever.
Yeah, for myself, if most of the street wants it, I say give it to them. Then you don't have to worry about how many schools are around, how many bus stops, this, that, and the other, the criteria,
I like having criteria because then it's not,
just random.
Subjective.
yeah. And it's not the neighborhood, just, majority rule, it's. There's a system.
So how do you do a criteria that satisfies those who live with the situation?
I think we're close, but maybe I know we already reduced it a little bit, but maybe reduce it a little bit more so that how many speed humps have we put in the last couple of years? Not very many. So do we need to reduce it so that we have more installed? I don't know.
And do you want to start with speed humps, or do you want to start with know how fast you're going signs, or just goes?
Those don't excite me, but that's me. I just don't think that slows people down very much.
Just the rule followers? Okay,
I'm okay with that. I support it.
I support that. I also was wondering if, based on the zone, so MH zone, multi.
Oh,
so
housing?
Higher density, maybe the rules, the criteria would be different just because there's more residents in one area.
Mhm.
But overall, I support taking another look at the threshold.
Okay. And maybe the criteria?
Yeah, I know in our previous discussion where we reduced that threshold, I was fine with that and I'm still okay with that. My sticking point back then and recently that I brought up is more around some of the non-quantitative indicators where we currently max out at 10. And I may be the only one, but I'm okay with adding a little more there. And I think that does allow for more of that community kind of voice a little bit. It's still an objective criteria, but it does give some wiggle room for discussion around it and not just sticking to, how many cars, how many miles per hour, how frequently they come to the street. So I'm okay with balancing it that way rather than continuing to reduce that threshold to where it's no longer quantitatively significant.
What if we kept the threshold, we'll look at it, keep the threshold at where it's at, but then add a bonus 10 points for if you get 80% of the neighborhood to sign off on it, you get 10 bonus points, and then that bumps you over the,
That's what I'm open to. Yeah, something along those lines, but
good look at that. Yeah.
Well, and for me, the width of the street kind of allows faster speeds. So I'd like that to be a criteria. And maybe when it's connecting two major arteries, like 31 and 35 or 35 and 41, those have points because those are also kind of like cut through. So normal neighborhood traffic's not going through. Other traffic is. If there's construction on one or the other, they're cutting through and they just got delayed because of construction, so they're speeding. I mean, things like that, I think we could add as well.
yeah, not their sidewalk. But my street doesn't have sidewalks, so you're gonna walk in the street anyways. And
Yeah.
so that's different than maybe if you had a sidewalk and a park strip and other factors like. So, I'm okay with revisiting, but for me, maybe less so of focusing on the thresholds, because those have already, been adjusted in the past as well, but looking at allowances for additional points that may not just be the speed study statistics.
So,
I like the additional points for a percentage of the residents saying that they agree, 75% or 80%. Sounds good to me, and I feel like if they get that, then we should do it.
But then that's why we have a threshold and other points. Otherwise, we might be doing this on every street in the city where they have.
Well, if
speed issues
80%
or
of the
not.
people on those streets want to do it, then.
Bill and need.
Well, but we're gonna have to raise taxes to do it for everybody, so.
Well, and maybe do like we do with the sidewalks, have a budget and do so many a year. Or just.
We've had 2 streets come to us
Mhm.
in the past 4 years.
You don't think you
I
don't
don't
foresee
think
a
there's
flood
gonna
of
be a
people?
huge line.
Yeah.
Of people saying, I got 80% of my neighbors to sign this. We need. I don't know.
I think the streets that have come to us have had a valid point too.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's not the neighborhood street. I'm looking at my neighborhood, or Continental would never, they have a pretty straight street, but they.
Yeah.
Pull it down mainly by the size of the street.
Yeah.
Because it's narrow and
Yeah.
street parking and.
My street, I'd never get speed humps on it anyway.
2 in my neighborhood
The
that
city won't, or the state won't put them in.
Yeah,
the 2 streets in my neighborhood that have been brought up are both cross streets from 41 to 47th. It's Charles. And from
Oh,
40th to 48th, that's
Palmer, Benton.
Palmer, Benview. So I think that could be something we look at for bonus points.
Charles does have
They've got,
past you going.
it's got the,
So I used
the
to
drag
check my
races.
speedometer when I drove home from school.
How fast.
see if it was correct or not. Okay, so is everybody good if we give direction to staff to come back with either a new criteria or a new idea of how to do it?
yes. And yes, maybe like a quick review of the threshold and we can talk about other options.
Yeah, I think we can take all these points and look at something. Dan, do you have anything you want to add now to consider?
Just not necessarily. I think there is certainly potential for, we've been working with many streets for many years, and I think many of them are discouraged thinking that they'll never get it, and maybe they've gone quiet. I think there's potential for there to be a line of folks, which is fine. We also could approach it and set certain geometric criteria like you've been talking about, road widths and road length and things like that. We could even put together a master plan of where we think speed humps ought to be. You know, we also know where we've gotten complaints over the years. It really depends on how extensive you want to be with this. And we just kind of take them as they come and just change the criteria, which would potentially let more through.
Okay. So we'll come back and we can do a quick review of what it is now with a recommendation or two.
Sure.
Great.
Okay. All right. Any other comments on that one? All right, the council calendar. Anybody have any concerns? There was a good or ribbon cutting for a new medical facility in the old Granger Medical. So I think that's gonna kind of help revitalize that building. We have Cops and Cleats. Oh, and then if anybody's interested, the Performing Arts Summer Block Party is on the 14th. It's just a couple of the things. The Barbie movie got canceled. Just in case everybody was rushing to go to that one. Okay, seeing no concerns over the calendar, we'll go to potential future agenda items. Of the council, yeah.
I had one. I guess it depends on council's desire, but I don't know if there would be interest in revisiting the tattoo ordinance. I had a business contact me that owns a salon and they're in a C2 zone, which I believe you can do cosmetic tattoos with a remember the name for an exception, but you can't do body art tattoos.
Pardon?
Variance, yeah, but body art not allowed, and so he would like to do both. He has clients that rent booths out that would like to do that. And I did ask staff kind of just a little bit of the history on tattoo ordinance, and the last time I think was in 2013 or something, so it's been a minute. And just curious if the council would like to even discuss it. I think he's reached out to you as well.
And I think the one you're talking about is where I get my hair done. And yeah, the one by Harmon's. Okay, because I walk down that hall, it looks just like every other salon front on there. It's just a nice door with obscured glass. So to me, whether you're getting body art or eyebrows or eyeliner, to me, it wouldn't matter. So I'm good with revisiting it.
Me too.
So can we,
Yep.
you're good?
Yep.
Okay. So if staff can bring that back to us and. Okay, anybody else?
I just want to follow up with the legal comment about the storage
unit. I know we have enough number already, so just wonder. Email I received from her already we all received that, but they want to follow up with this. We moving forward right now, or what's going on?
This is to revisit the rezone of that property for a storage unit.
Correct.
By the animal shelter, the old animal shelter. Okay.
You're just asking about the timeline.
Yeah, the timeline, yeah, just wonder.
Well, I'm not sure if we have to vote in this meeting to put it back on.
I mean, like, they're gonna go procedure, like, go through the same thing, send mail letter out to the residents, people there and let them know. Yeah, so I just wanna hear from her.
Nicole, you want to let us know
Sure,
on that?
Yes, absolutely. So the first step, we would just need to get 4 affirmatives to move forward. Just head nods is fine from the council. From that point, I will just renotice the public hearing. So we'll just have to go through the study session process and then to a regular public hearing. And we could do that as soon as I could do the study meeting next week and voting on the 16th. That will give us the enough time to comply with noticing requirements if the council wishes to proceed with that.
Are there at least 4 that would like to put that back on the agenda? Okay. Would you put that back on then? We'll look
Yep,
at
I will
it.
get that taken care of.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And then somebody else over here had another one.
Oh, yeah, just 2 resident emails related to a similar theme, but one was about a perceived. I don't use the Mountain View Corridor Trail much, so I can't confirm or deny, but at least a reported increase in use of motorized cycles and even mopeds, motorized bikes and things like that. At first reading, I'm not even familiar whether or not those things are allowed, not allowed, et cetera, but at least from this resident, wanted to state that that was a concern that they've been seeing. So, sure, that's something that we can confirm or deny as well, or clarify what the rules are, whether the signage that's out there now is, clear for people to know that or not. Again, I don't run that trail, so I just don't know. But that was one. And another was about graffiti along that stretch there, and whether or not we could post signage, again, with just the number, that if you see graffiti, you can report it to this number. The individual who had emailed me knows the number and texts Jake when that happens and takes a picture, but are assuming that others may not have that number on hand, and that might be.
Okay. So the first one, let's ask Dan if he knows what the criteria is for electric scooters or skateboards.
I think we will have to get back to you on that.
Okay, I know,
I don't have any head nods back there, just.
Yeah. I know that I got an answer out of UDOT about 2 months ago, but I can't remember what the answer was. Because we've had a conflict also down at the Jordan River Trail. We have a gentleman there. People do ride their e-bikes and electric scooters, and he would like them stopped, but the commission as of this point is allowing them. So I don't want to say the wrong thing with those 2 things, so let's check with UDOT on that one. And then, yeah, can we look into whether or not we can put the graffiti
Signs.
signs and number? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Graffiti those signs,
Yeah. All right. Any other future potential future? Okay. Council reports. Okay.
We apparently had a great week at the Cultural Center. Wednesday, we had the Utah Symphony concert there. It was well attended. Pretty good crowd on the outside amphitheater. Utah Symphony did a good job. So back into the summer concert series. yesterday they had the West Valley Symphony. Their symphony is bigger than the Utah Symphony in number of participants, so they wouldn't fit on the outside stage. So we had to put them inside, and we again had a packed house inside. So the summer concert series is in full vogue now. I talked to Mike Christensen, and he mentioned that they were kind of debating right now whether to put it on every Monday or just kind of scatter it out and fit it in where they can and see what happened. So that's why the Utah Symphony was on a Wednesday instead of a Monday. But they're planning and working on doing another summer concert series. And they're starting them a little later because if they do them in the outside amphitheater, they want to get the sun out of the musicians' eyes. So they're starting about 8 to 8:30. So they run a little later, but they're worth it. Thursday, I went to the farmer's market. It was the second week. They had a good number of vendors there and a pretty good crowd. Friday, I finally got to go see if I had stolen any lightning, and it wasn't me, but they had a great crowd there. Just in listening to the crowd, I think a lot of them were related or friends of the cast. Just the way they reacted and responded when a cast member did a good job and things like that. So, but I did sit by somebody who's on the Center Point Theater group up in Centerville. And she, again, talked to us about I was open. I told her I was on the council. So she knew she was talking to an enemy or a friend, depending on who you talk to. But she thanked us for going with the idea of getting them organized and letting them organize and go on their own. So we took care of that, got it. It was a good performance. It was their next to the last, so it did have a very good crowd. And I'm trying to think what else we did over the weekend. Oh, Saturday's almost helped. I stuck it out till noon when they finally cut the ribbon at 11 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently their mariachi band that they had that was part of the ribbon cutting was late in arriving, so they postponed it till 11:45. And then finally cut the ribbon about noon. So I just fell back and used the old Puntualidad Mexicana. He's still there when they cut the ribbon. I was home by 12:10. So, but it's a good program, and it's the first one that they've done. It's their flagship try. Something that the president developed while he was serving in the Chicago Spanish-speaking area and the need for it. And it's had a 14-year-old son there, so it's taking this long to get around to getting it working. But they don't have insurance. They want to just join their insurance. It's $60 a month for an adult, and it's full coverage. Basically designed for the Spanish community, but can go with any community. Jake is also well acquainted with the staff there. So, but they had a good party going. I sat and talked to one of their neighbors lives on the street just down from it. Dead end street that we worried about whenever we redo that intersection on Bangor, and she told me what she'd like me to tell UDOT next time we see him, and I agreed with her. So it was good programming.
Well, and it's $60 a person per month, and just for primary care.
No, it's total care.
If you get cancer or have mental health, they send you to someone else,
Okay.
is what the president told me. They can only take care of the primary doc stuff.
Primary doc and prescription, primary prescriptions.
Right. Yeah, anything past that, they hand you off to somebody else. But for a lot of families, this will be a great alternative to a normal health insurance plan. So, and the kids are only $50, adults 60. So for families, it'll probably pay off, just stitches alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, was my biggest return to. Hey, anybody else? Yes.
On Thursday, I was able to do a police ride along with PD, and as usual, impressed by the professionalism and the work that they do. We got some meth off the street. We got stolen credit cards back to the owner. It seemed like an eventful night to me. Probably it was a typical Thursday, but
Actually quiet.
it was a good, appreciate allowing me to do that.
Okay, thank you.
I just, except for the symphony, I just kind of followed
Don around?
Councilman Christensen. Except for Lightning Thief, Mike Grossman 3 times.
Oh, good.
Just that's their standard thing for every show. They love them all and they just want to go.
Hey. Seeing no other, do we have a need for a closed session?
Don't.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Mr. Johnson would like to give us a brief council update on Bangor Highway construction. Sorry about that, Dan. I missed you.
Good evening, Dan Johnson, Public Works Director. This is big enough that we just thought we'd get it in front of you and let you know that this is happening now. So UDOT informed us this week that they're preparing for the east-west closure of 4700 South at Bangor Highway. So that'll happen next Friday, July 12th at 9 p.m. and it will be closed for 365 days. And so so you'll still be able to go north and south on Bangor Highway. You'll still be able to make right turns on and off of Bangor Highway. But you will not be able to make any kind of left or through movement east and west or left off of Bangor. So quite impactful, but that's the cost of the grade separation and making Bangor go underneath 47th. That's that 1-year closure that we agreed to. So just wanted to inform you that it's coming July 12th. They're going to work with Sam Johnson on using our social media communication channels to help them to amplify that message to our residents. And yeah, now you can tell your neighbors.
They did put it out on their Facebook
I say.
page too.
Good.
I get it like 2 or 3 times a week on my Facebook.
Yes, I think that'll be a message that's heavily propagated through the next couple of weeks, and then we'll deal with the aftermath as the traffic reroutes.
But it's good to know that they can make the right-hand turn, because I just thought it'd be totally shut down.
Yeah.
I didn't think we'd be able to do that.
Give you some access and some movement, but it'll take folks thinking about their routes and kind of replanning their travel. So
Do you remember when they're gonna shut down 3200 south at the 201?
don't have a date yet. Yeah, I'll let you know, but I don't have a date yet.
The new decks on Bangor are really nice. At the 201, yeah,
It's
it's
much,
nice and
much
smooth. There's
improved.
no
Yeah.
more potholes for a day or two.
Yeah, for now, huh? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right,
Quick question,
Yes.
with the upcoming meeting, is there any interest in? Or is there any? Do you foresee any issues with the tractor and or the wetland park? Or could those be put on the consent?
I didn't.
Here, but. Just wondering.
We wanted to add those, we just add those when we get to that section, right?
Yeah, just make a motion to add those to the consent agenda.
Just talking about efficiency and stuff like that these days. That was, sorry.
So do you want me to give you the option or just go to resolutions, do them one at a time? Or if I open one resolution, do you want to just add them to the consent?
If there's discussion or dissent, then yeah, we should discuss them. But if not,
Okay,
We need a separate vote to add it to the consent agenda?
that would be a Ms. Kamic question.
It would be, you could do it all in one vote. So you would just move the items to the consent agenda and then move for approval of the consent agenda in one motion. As long as we get a second, we can go that way. And just for your information, I am working with legal on a process for that. So we should have an idea on how we could do this a little bit more easily in the upcoming weeks. So
I don't have a strong preference, just that Scott got to do it last time. It was- thought it was-
I wasn't here for that, so sorry, I don't even know how that ran. Okay. All right, seeing no other business. One more action item.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye. And we stand adjourned. See you at 6:30.